Hi everyone, Edna Kimball, Edna Sells, Century 21 Right Real Estate, and welcome to today's episode where we have a fan favorite returning. Please welcome Christy and Steven Springwater of Springwater Fence. Hi guys.
Hello.
I'm doing great. I'm so glad that you guys took the time to come in and visit with us today. You guys are some of the busiest people that I know.
We're busy.
Very, very busy. Very, very busy. So the reason we have the Springwaters on today is we are going to talk a little bit about investing into the community, and you own a local business, Springwater Fence. How long have you owned Springwater Fence?
See if he knows.
Uh,
See if you know. See if you know.
yeah, probably almost 30 years.
30 years.
We're getting really close.
Oh, a big anniversary coming up then. Okay, Springwater Fence here in the Tahlequah, actually all of Cherokee County, and you kind of even edge into Adair County and some of the other areas. So
We stay in about a 2-hour radius.
okay, and 30 years of being a business owner.
We're really not that old. That we were starting when we were like 19 or 20.
They were 12, in case you're doing the math. They were 12 when they started Springwater.
I just wanted to say too, if I seem a little heavy or bigger, it's because I'm sitting between a couple skinny, beautiful
Oh my God, this is why he's a fan
I'm worried
favorite.
about that, so I just wanted to get that out there. I was going to wear stripes, but I didn't know which way to go with them.
Again, this is why he's a fan favorite. I absolutely love that. And some of you, if you have not met the Springwaters, you might want to go back and check some old YouTube videos of when Steven joined us for Carpool Karaoke years ago. That was probably one of our most watched videos ever. So. Jill, the camera, you didn't know about that? Carpool karaoke, look it up. It's a good one. But anyway, so 30 years of a business here in Tahlequah, that's super impressive.
Yes.
I love that. And you guys are very involved in the community, part of the chamber, tons of nonprofit work that you work with and promote. So that's awesome. And then they also are the parents of two of our previous podcast guests, Dylan Springwater and Faith Springwater. And again, they were fan favorites too. We had a lot of views on theirs.
So Dylan's our oldest and Faith's our youngest. And then we have the twins that are 25. So they're right in the middle of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 4 kids.
Yes.
Okay, Faith is the only girl.
She's the only girl.
Okay, so everybody who's following knows Faith. They've watched Faith.
Sure.
They've seen Dylan on the podcast and around town. Tell us about the twins.
The twins they're both in PT school. And so one is in Norman Moore area. And then Jake is there. Strauss is in Tennessee. So they're both in PT school, and he's going to get his white coat in January 21st or 22nd. I can't remember. Anyways, we're really excited about that. And so, but that's what they're doing.
That's amazing. You guys should be so proud. Yes.
We're good.
So in your free time, right? You got 4 kiddos and running this business for 30 years. You also own investment properties.
We do.
How many doors do you own?
We have 62.
62 units. I say doors. Do you say units or doors? Doors.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. So you just woke up one day and someone handed you 62 rentals, or how did that happen?
I wish.
Right.
Kind of how we got into rentals is, of course, like I say, we were 19, 20 years old is when we kind of started buying our first houses. And we were building fence and working and kind of going to college and doing some things. And we would take the money that we were making on the fence, the company, the business, and we would try to accumulate down money and do that and put down money. But I want to say, when I worked at Tahlequah Lumber in 17, 18, and Andy Cunningham was there. Lumberyard, and he had rentals, and I kind of give props to Andy a lot, and he may not even know it, but I kind of watched him and what he did and kind of mimicked that, and also in my business when we developed it, because we just kind of started it from scratch. I mean, I didn't know how to mix a bag of concrete or do anything. My dad laughed at me actually one time when we were doing a yard fence. But I watched those guys like Andy Cunningham, Bob Cunningham, Randy Skinner,
Oh yeah.
Jeff Reeser, Scott Wright, and just kind of watched those guys and kind of fed off what they were doing and
That's
tried
amazing.
to implement that, customer service, doing
Yeah.
things right, doing a good job, and things like that.
Because it's really rare for a couple of 19-year-old kiddos to start a business. And first off, props that you're also still together. How long have you been married? He's going to be in so much trouble when he
38
leaves.
years since no,
38 years.
we were 14. Wait a minute, almost 14. I was.
No, it will be 32 years.
32
Yes,
years.
in March. So it's,
Oh my goodness, yes.
We got married actually. I was 17 and
Yes.
she was 19. I think a senior in high school or going that way.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so we kind of got married. We had Dylan at an
Yeah.
early age. It wasn't,
Yeah.
but I can remember when we had Dylan and we were married and we living in a trailer house, we were working jobs and doing that. But Dylan would be at the ball games that we had, or we'd be playing ball and they'd like be passing him around.
The village raced him,
So-
right? They helped.
So it's been a while.
Yeah. Well, I think that this is the thing that I love is that you didn't. I mean, you literally had jobs, and then you did the fence on the side to kind of get it up and going, and you lived in a mobile home.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times young people come to me and say, "Hey, I want to get started on this." You don't have to start with all the new shiny things, right? Sometimes it's better not to, and that way you can put the money into a business and get that up and going.
And somewhere along in there, we made that decision. Like we lived in a little mobile home, and we actually we had to end up buying 2 or 3 houses or 4 houses before we even got out of the mobile home.
Right.
We took the
Absolutely.
down money from the business, and instead of doing whatever with it,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
kind of invested.
You didn't take a lot of fabulous
We didn't get to go on
vacations for a long
fun things,
time.
Or have a dishwasher. I didn't have one of those forever.
Oh my!
It's like, I need a dishwasher. We have all these kids, and I'm running my dishwasher. And he was like, oh. And I'm like, but no, the rental will get one. We'll put one in one of those houses.
Yeah.
We would buy them, and then of course we would fix them up. We would work on them.
And we did all the
and
work
we-
ourselves.
Oh
Since
my
in the last
gosh.
couple of years have we had like a handyman
Or a
and
cleaner.
somebody to clean. So I'm just that's so nice to have
But
somebody help me.
I love, and this might be the title of the episode, Jill, but from mobile home to owning mobile home park, right? So yeah, because you guys, I think I helped you guys purchase a mobile home
Yes,
park. So,
you
did.
but you own quite a few mobile homes.
We do.
So we are not knocking mobile homes, people.
No.
Love
They're
'em.
There's a great
they're
margin
A great
on-
way to start.
Yes.
It's a really great way to start.
It's a great margin also, and
Yeah.
you just got to keep them up and just got to be willing to work on them and not let them go down. So
Yes.
Yeah, it's a constant
Sure.
job for sure, for sure. So how did you decide fencing was what you're going to get into? I've never heard this origin story, so
man, I'm getting to get all this out. I don't want to tell the
yes.
story.
I know usually we're talking and you don't get to talk.
Actually, how it happened is I was 17, 18 years old, and I was working, I think for the 18 years old, I was working for the county, running some equipment and doing some things, but always fencing on the side and doing things. And
He started working at the lumberyard, and people were
And
coming
then-
in
and
and
then
asking
lumber-
about that.
another-
And so then he started doing it
Right.
in the lumberyard, and then
another
kind of
tribute to
figured from there.
Tahlequah Lumber, and learning so much from those guys
Yeah.
and being in that certain area with all those guys. Their fencing guy, they have a great handyman service, and their fencing guy had kind of phased out and wasn't doing it anymore. And I remember Leon Nugent was like, "Hey, Steve, you're always hustling, doing side jobs. Would you like to try that?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll try it," And so I tried it and started building fences for the lumberyard and doing that. And then it just kind of snowballed where I was building fences for everybody.
I did not know that.
Totally self-taught. I mean, never, did a lot of it. I worked for Bob Barnes, a rancher, and I built just miles and miles of fence for him on what they call Sellers Mountain. And I remember Bob taught me deep, straight, and level, which is almost like how to live life, right?
Oh, I
deep,
like it.
straight, and level. And so I took that concept of that fence and just applied it to every other fence that I did and tried to kind of do that. But how we got in it, we were laying in bed one night. I did an estimate for Randy Roundtree. It all comes back to.
It's like every name we know.
Well, I've
No,
always,
these are some OGs in our county. Yeah.
People in our community.
I've always
Yeah.
wanted to have that opportunity, and I may never get the chance to get to thank those guys or say, this is kind of how it happened.
Yes. Yeah.
Randy Roundtree was a superintendent at 10 Killer School, and I was side jobbing, and Randy called me, and I looked at a good job back then. It was a backstop and, baseball field. And I remember Randy was like, yeah, give me a number, holler back at me. And I was real super nervous because the number was big to me at any time at that
Right.
point. One of the bigger jobs that I would ever do, or that I was going to do at that point. And I remember I came home and I told Christy, I was like, it's going pretty good. I said, we were laying in bed, and I was like, if Randy gives me that job, if I get that job, I'm just going to build fence.
That's scary.
It was scary.
Terrifying.
scary.
Yeah.
So anyway, next day Randy called, was like, when can you start? And we were like, I was like, I'll be there Monday, and I gave
Notice.
I gave notice a couple Mondays, and so that's the only way we've drawn checks since then.
Oh my gosh, that is, I don't know why I've never known that story, but that's amazing.
Yeah.
And, shout out to Leon. He's still at Tahlequah Lumber.
He's a
And when
beast.
people contact me and say, hey, I need a local handyman, if it's kind of a,
Sure.
an intense job, I'll say, call Leon, call Tahlequah Lumber. That's the go-to. So
He's
I love
great.
that.
They're just great people.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll definitely tag them on this. So.
Discount. The prices are great.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. So you went from so what do you remember even what the first house price was? Because the prices are a little different now.
Yes, we bought our Maple house. We still own. It was our first one, so we bought.
You still own the first.
We do. It's the first one. We're not sellers.
You are
We
not.
are buyers.
We are not either. Yeah, we
Yes,
do not sell.
That
Yeah.
is our big thing. We typically hang on to everything we have.
Buy and hold. It's a long-term
Yes.
game.
So we bought Maple, and it was two houses, and we bought it for $33,000. So it was a tall two-story and a little house on the back, which we still have, and we've done quite a bit of upgrading to them because they were
Sure,
older homes.
yeah.
But those are the first ones we bought.
But it's only 30,000. Is that what you thought? It's only 30,000.
Not at that
no.
point.
Right? Because at that
that
point, you're
time.
terrified.
No, we were
Yeah.
living in
30
a
years ago.
$4,000 mobile home, and we were buying a
We
$33,000.
called it Disco Lemonade. It was green.
No, we didn't.
Oh my
But
gosh.
For real, it was.
I know the house.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
very scary because I was like, we don't even live in a house ourselves, and we're buying this. And he was like, well, Andy knows these people, and they have this for sale, and we're gonna buy it. I'm like,
Yeah.
so it was the most money we'd ever spent.
Sure.
Oh
on
my
anything.
gosh.
And so,
Yeah.
but we still own it. So yes, and we don't owe any money on
And
it.
Yes, yeah, that's the key is that the buy and hold, it's the long game. Do you only look at properties that cash flow?
Oh no, that's no. They
Used
got to
to.
break even pretty much, but we
Yes.
look long term
Yes.
for what we're doing.
Right, and has that paid off?
Oh yes. Yeah, it has.
For sure.
I think if you could talk to whoever or a younger person, I would say start early.
Yes.
Because the earlier you start,
Isn't
the
that
sooner
true?
you'll create equity, and those things and then you can tool those to buy other things. That's kind of what happened to us. We started early, got some equity, did another one, kept going, and then so it's enabled us, 30 years later to kind of, have a little equity and do some other things. But
He's a little bit more of a gambler than I am. Of course, I'm changing. I'm getting a little bit better on that.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I was really scared, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
we just had 8 units for quite a long time. But when those started getting paid for and they were getting paid down, we were like, you know what? We could use that as equity and then not have to put so much down. And then we started making larger investments because those that we had purchased, 10 years back or whatever, were paid for because we'd put them on shorter term notes.
Right.
Sure.
And so that's how we were able to purchase some of the mobile home courts and things of that because, we would find a good deal, and we have a wonderful real estate person that,
Whoa.
anyways, and we're big drive arounders though too. We drive around and look for property ourselves, and then I usually call and then say, hey, I seen this, and what do you think? And she'll immediately, because she's very
I say,
instant.
buy them all. But I don't, do I? No, yeah.
No, she doesn't, but she's very instant getting back with us. And I will say, I do love that about her, because she's instant. Tell us, yes, this is on the market. Yes, it's this much. And so we're lucky for that.
And I can say this at this point is like, I think about that now and kind of the things we bought and the more doors and the just whatever. And it's always been Edna. And it's always been a right deal and a good advised deal. As I look back, because it's been going on for years, our relationship, and those investments that we did were were good ones. Like they really.
But at the
Back
time when
out.
you're buying them,
I'm scared usually.
yeah. And do you feel like we're getting a great price? Have you ever felt like,
No.
yeah, but I think that's so important. I mean, I'm in the biz, and I'm still like, but
Does it add up?
yeah, but it does pay off. So but I think that's important, because if you wait for a really excellent, great deal, you're probably never going to pull the trigger.
Right.
Now, having said that, you still got to run the numbers, and I don't recommend that you buy if you're not going to break even and everything. But if you wait for cash flow and you wait for an excellent deal only, you might be waiting. Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah,
Don't be so. I mean, don't be so scared or nervous. You
We
got to.
use it kind of like a savings account.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
more I guess we're not the best on that. So
Great money on it, but it has created equity and leverage and basically, hopefully a retirement thing for us, or be able to draw some checks. We're not.
and residual income and
Yeah.
So 4 kids, 3 jobs, because you had the side hustle of the fence and you were both working.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
And living in a $4,000 mobile, and you now are at 62 doors. The kids are in college or graduated, and they're all self-sufficient. And
yes, it feels like we might get a raise here.
We got one left.
one left, yeah. They just kept getting better and better too, didn't they?
Expensive one is still with us. But,
Girl, that's usually the case. So, what's the scariest real estate transaction? Was it always the most expensive, or was there something that you were like, I don't know if this is going to play out? Ours.
yes.
Yes, yeah. So, and I have to tell this story. I always tell every couple there's a gas and a brake. And no, you are not the brake.
Over time, though.
No, that's true. So he has been the gas like foot to the floor always, and Christy's been foot to the floor on the brake. And so it's been like they stop and go. But I will say over the last few years, that has started to kind of shift a little. So
Better.
yeah, no, and I do think that that's a healthy combination. So but what's the scariest one that you guys can or just not scary, but like just the one that you were the most apprehensive about? Was it like a big price, or was it more of like just doing something out of your comfort zone?
It was a big price for us. It was a really big price for us, and then it was a big overhaul.
Creek.
That too, but
That's what's scary.
They had different ones.
it's very true, because he walked in the door of that one and said, no, we're not doing this. And I was like, oh no, I want to do this. So I won.
So there was a multiple unit, or
we bought a house at Elk Creek that was in really bad shape.
the house. Oh yeah, that was a very expensive house.
My biggest.
Okay, yes, I remember. I think you
I about
you
had a breakdown.
I was going to say it was very intense.
stressful.
It was very
We had
intense.
a lot of work ahead of us, and now I'm very grateful we have it. But
Which one is your so that was your scariest one to buy.
was.
Which one is your favorite property now?
that one.
I actually knew that because we had just had that conversation.
The scariest one is my absolute favorite one, and I'm very glad we have it now. But I can
get-
remember sitting in my car and being like, "What have I done?"
Yeah, I think you said that to me too. And I was like,
I'm about to cry. Here we are, like on day 90 of still doing the remodel, and it was a lot of work.
yeah,
But,
no, it was. It was a hot
is
mess.
It was a great investment, but a very scary one.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But I think it's healthy to go in. I actually say this all the time. I would much rather get those panic calls in the process of buying, because then I know that the client is being realistic and working through the problems and coming up with, solutions and everything, as opposed to they had no concerns and they were just giddy, because to me that's an emotional buy. And then at closing, reality punches them in the face, So that's always a little worrisome, but yeah.
I'm kind of the worst case scenario person in our thing. Steven's a little bit more, it'll be okay or whatever. But me, I'm just like, okay, what could be the worst thing that could happen? So.
And it's obvious that I'm the beauty and she's the brains. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's
exactly.
Okay. Yes. Absolutely. That's exactly.
I had a list I wanted
Christy's doing the math for the fence and everything. While you just stand there and look good, huh?
Skinny. Look skinny between you gals.
Oh, he's a charmer. This is why. So what's next for the Springwaters? Are you guys ramping up? Are you still looking to buy more? Like, do you get to a point that you're done, or?
We've made some decisions this year, kind of like new things. We're kind of wanting to venture out into the commercial property. Mm-hmm. So we're actually in a contract with something currently, and so that's going to be kind of our new thing.
Yeah,
we're going to try something a little different.
So right now you own single family. Mm-hmm. You own multi-family, like a multi-units apartment building. Mm-hmm. You own several mobile home parks, right? Mm-hmm. How many mobile homes do you own?
Four.
Or mobile home parks. Four parks, right? And so
they're not
large.
We have brand new.
Yeah, we have new.
Yeah. But you have the two parks that you started, which is a whole different
we do have
raw
two
land that you turned
started.
in.
Yes.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That is all him, because that was all me putting the brakes on with both feet.
You were not happy about that.
I was scared to death.
But it's paid off really well.
It has been a really good thing, but I will say I had both feet in the ground and had a couple crying moments of I don't want to do this.
And he's dragging you through, huh? Yeah.
Yes.
But I think that's a good balance. I think it's important for, because otherwise if you're both gas, you're going to drive off the cliff. If you're both brake, you're not going to go anywhere. So having a little bit of balance, I think, is a smart thing to do. Right. Yeah. And you guys own short-term rentals.
We do.
Airbnbs.
Yes.
How long have you been in that?
Just right at 2 years.
Okay.
And it's actually done really well. I've been surprised. But it's done really well. And we actually have one that is next to our office where we live, and we either have nurses or business people come in. They stay 3-4 months at a time. It's been a really good thing. And then we have a lake property that's weekend, or this new thing that's happened is people asking to use it for birthday parties. And so it's actually worked out pretty good for us, because we've had a couple people that have just been like, well, we would rent it daily. Use it for the evening and use just use the home.
Yeah, you've had birthday parties, showers, game night, people renting it for that.
Yes,
and
so that's kind of neat.
Yeah, and I think that is the key of long-term success, because I saw you guys do that in your fence industry also, is that you have to zig and zag and bob and weave and come up with new, they actually rent fencing. Like that, just the first time I heard that blew my mind. Yeah. But to be successful in any industry, you gotta.
I think that's
safety. It's safety construction fence, so it goes around sites when they're building.
Okay.
It's for for theft or for safety, for no one to get hurt. So we do have that.
It's been great. I think you got to be a little diverse in it. Like our motto and our stuff it's any fence anywhere.
Okay.
So that means that we're not going to do the little dog pen or the barbed wire fence and just hunt the big one, because it's going to take it's going to take all kinds to make that whole bubble work. So we'll do any of it.
Big commercial all the way down, because I have had some clients that were moving, couldn't do the full fence, and they would come in and rent small fencing from you for the dogs, which just blew my mind. I thought that was such a great solution. And we've had a few that were interim, building a new home and needed it, and you guys were able to help them out. So I think that's huge. Yep. So the moral of the story is, you might not live in as expensive of a home as you own, because you could rent that out and make more money, right? So kind of some house hacking. And now tell me the fence theory again. Straight,
You got to be straight, deep, and level.
straight,
If you-
deep, and level.
That's a Bob Barnes
It's a
quote.
Bob Barnes thing.
Okay, okay. We're going to give Bob Barnes credit for that, but
Have a post, and this is kind of in our fences, if we're going to dig you a hole, it's Cherokee County, it's solid rock. But we're going to give you every bit of depth that you need for that post to hold. If we go to cheating on it or giving up, because that rock bar got, you're picking away at that sandstone or flint rock. If you give up and short that hole, it's going to eventually waller out, or if you put a tight fence on it, it's going to pull up and out. And then we're going to have to come back and back it up and do all those things. So if you go deep, it's going to hold. If you go level, it's going to be straight. And if you go tight, it's going to hold your livestock, it's going to hold your dogs, it's going to hold all those things. Kind of a life.
I like that. And you just kind of apply that in all of the raising those kids. I feel like you did that.
Level.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
mean and strict.
Mean and strict.
All of our friends say you're mean and we're strict. I'm like, well, oh well. But
And
it
look
turned
how
out
great
okay.
it turned out.
Turned out okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can't believe you had time to come in and talk to us today, because you do have so much going on. And now it's getting kind of fun, because now you get to go and watch your children win these great accolades and awards and finish and get their white jackets and all of that. But you're still running and gunning.
We are.
That's
Still
exciting.
here. We made it.
32 years of marriage, 30 years in the business, and you really built it yourself. So that's amazing. And we really appreciate you guys coming on. Yeah.
And it's just I feel a little, well, it's all about no and all that, but like credit to, we have faith and we have, our God and all that. And without that, we would be nothing as far as our finances. He provides for us. That's been the thing that's really sustained us through the tough years and all that, is just keep tithing your money, keep gambling. And if you're going to gamble, you need to gamble on Jesus. So, and I don't mean to be.
No.
But that's really how it. I mean, it wasn't because we were
God is good
smart.
all the time.
It wasn't because we were smart. It wasn't because we were anything. We were really just kind of a whatever. But that's really kind of what's been the success. I want to tell one more story. I've been dying to do this, but you can edit it or whatever. It was how, and I've had a couple interviews, and I've always wanted, but I didn't. But so how we met Ed and Herb.
Oh gosh. Whistle for sure.
It was probably 2001. I'm just making up dates and stuff.
Yeah.
2001. It was Thanksgiving. We were driving around looking for somewhere to eat at the Sportsman's Lounge. I don't know if you remember. It was Dwayne's place now, but there used to be this. People will know
this is
this.
for sure a
People will
story.
know this. It was the Sportsman's Lounge,
Thank goodness
where
this
Dwayne's
is
place is now. We pulled in there. They were having a Thanksgiving buffet. Ed and Herb were in there. And we sit down by him, and the rest was history.
And he just made that story complete.
I was going to say that never happened. I've never gone out to eat on Thanksgiving.
Sportsman's Lounge, right? Yeah. Some people will remember the Sportsman's Lounge. They'll think that.
And this is why he's a fan favorite. He can make stuff up on the spot. I was thinking, I don't remember any of this, but
Last thing, and I'm done.
You should try living with him.
Last thing, I'm done. I mentioned all those people that I've watched and the mentor and do all those things, but Ed has been one of those too, as on the side of watching how Ed and Herb, a partnership of how they do things, and I've taken things that she said and tidbits and things of that and applied them to some things we do. So it's all about learning that knowledge and taking in what you can. You don't always have to use that knowledge or do whatever, but I think it's about taking it in and assessing it, doing what you want.
absolutely, absolutely. Having mentors or people
Sure.
who are doing it, and then what feels right that they're telling you, and you take what works for you and you do it. A lot of people are going to be following your journey and figuring out how they can make it work for them. But you guys start early. There you go. And
Don't buy a pack of gum without talking to Ed.
that's one of my favorites. So, okay, everyone, as always, please like, follow, and share. And if you would like to be a guest on the next podcast, reach out. Or if there's someone you would like for us to interview, we would be happy to contact them and see if they would like to join us. But as always, guys, thank you so much for coming in.
Follow this, we know. But Do what you gotta do.
Thanks, everyone.